this on. One thing I've learned is to live in the moment, and in the moment I'm cold, so I have my jacket. They're trying to look cool in my outfit. Thank you, Jonathan, I appreciate it. You know, I always feel bad speaking at these events where I know certain people who are probably more successful than I am, and happier than I am, and better speakers than I am. I didn't want to go after Angel here because, you know, I would seem like an amateur. But I appreciate it, and as Jonathan said earlier, time is the most important thing. Believe me, I know, and I've learned it the hard way. And so I appreciate you guys making time to be here. This is interesting, Dreamweek, right? The word dream, because literally I had another speech prepared today, and then this morning I woke up with a thought and I completely changed it. And so I have not prepared this speech, so I'm just gonna go with it. But I had a dream that I changed it, and so I did. And I woke up and I posted this morning something and to the effect of how your fake distractions are killing your real dreams, right? So all of us have dreams or goals or aspirations, but this world, the way it works, tends to distract us very easily. Facebook, social media, any kind of social media, movies, games, partners sometimes, our wives, husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, they distract us from our dreams, and we allow ourselves to do that. So I'm going to start with a story. I think it's better to start with my own story, and I'll tell you what happened with me. So I used to be in a whole different business before I got into television, but a long time ago, when I was much younger. And one day I found myself retired from the restaurant business. I was real cocky when I was young, so I thought I was retired now, like at 21 years old, right? I had money in the bank, enough to pay my bills for a couple months. I'm like, I'm retired. And I ended up living with a friend of mine who used to host a TV show here in town. And anyhow, I used to make fun of her all the time because I'd see her on TV, and I just would make fun of her because I thought it was funny. And so she would say, hey, why don't you stop making fun of me and come and watch me sometime and watch what I do. So it's all right. So I did. And I never knew that's how my life was going to change. She invited me to this concert, and there were a lot of famous people in this room. She had access, like VIP access. I've never been in a green room. I've never had a VIP badge, and I thought it was the coolest thing on the planet. So I go to the back of this green room, and all these artists are there, country and Tejano at the time. So I don't know if it was Clint Black, George Strait, one of those guys, and you know, Selena, these people, right? And so anyhow, I'm watching this gentleman in the back of the room, this older gentleman, and he is handing out his cards to people. People are coming up to him. This guy is somebody. And he's in a corner, and famous people are coming up to this cat, who I don't recognize. I didn't know who he was. And they're talking to him, and I can hear him. Like, I kept getting closer, you know, like creeping on him, and I can hear their conversation start. And he was like, yeah, call me, man, call me. Yeah, or call this person, that person. We'll do lunch. And I've only at this point heard these things in movies and TV shows, right? And I'm like, wow, okay, this is like a real thing. And so they're like, yeah. And he's giving them cards and this and that. And at some point, I'm like, I'm digging this guy. Like, whatever he's doing, I want. So I go up to my friend and I say, hey, who's that guy right there? She says, that guy is our producer and executive producer and director. And I'm like, I want to be that right there. And she's like, you're crazy. Like, he's an executive producer. I said, yeah, I'm going to be that right there. And so I go up to this guy, and in the middle of all these people, and I'm like, hey man, how do I do what you do? And he looks at me and he says, kid, how old are you? I tell him. He's like, if you want to make real money and succeed, don't get into television. He goes, don't do it, right? I'm like, no, I want to do what you do. And he goes, I'm busy, leave me alone, don't do it. So 2 years later, I fired this guy, Jerry Maguire, true story. I fired him. He was already going to be fired anyhow, but my bosses let me fire him, so quote unquote. In fact, I used to work with a young lady who is now our last speaker's wife. But anyhow, so long story short, here's what happened. In that moment, okay, in that moment when I saw this gentleman do this, an idea got planted in my head, a dream. And the dream was simply that I was going to do what that gentleman did, whatever it took. And in that moment, I left every distraction in the world. I stopped. I broke up with my girlfriend, believe it or not. I know some people think that's harsh, but I did. Because I spoke to a mentor, and the mentor said, if you really want that, you're not going to college, you haven't gone to college, all these people have gone to college to do what you want to do. How are you going to do it? You're going to spend more time working on your dream than they will. You're going to work harder. You're going to do everything you have to do. And my girlfriend at the time was a distraction. We were very toxic at the time. I was in a very toxic relationship. I was the opposite of who I am today. And so it was a bad situation. So he's number one, break up with your girlfriend. I said, no problem, done. He said, second, right, that was the easiest thing, for me. I'm a bachelor still. To this day, I wonder why. So anyhow, so he says, two, you're gonna spend your entire, if you sleep 20 hours, you'll be lucky. You're gonna spend mostly 24 hours a day chasing that dream. So I went up to this company and I said, I'll work for free. I don't care what I gotta do. They're like, we can't hire you for free, I'll enter. They hired me. They got me on for free. 6 months, I was the first guy there, last one to leave, every day. To the point that they were like, okay, we should give you a key because you're here and I think it's illegal to have you working. I was doing everything they wanted. Washing the van, cleaning stuff, sweeping, like how does the floor look, is your coffee good, everything. Finally, they gave me a key. And I was like, the key. You know what I mean? Literally, for me, it was part of that dream becoming a reality. They said, we're gonna hire you for minimum wage. I'll take it. Before I didn't even know what minimum wage, I was like, I'll take it, right? I can eat ramen, soup. Got the key, guess what I was doing now? Now I didn't have to leave when they left. I could stay there later. And I started learning how to run a camera. I would come in on weekends, my friends were partying, my friends were being out with their friends, calling me, hey, where you at? We missed you at this party. I don't care, I was working on my dream. I was working on doing everything I had to do to get there. I didn't let anything distract me. I cut out negative people that were in my family because, and I've talked about this at other speeches before, sometimes the people closest to us are sometimes the people that hurt us the most, right? Why? Because they have access to us, because they know us, because they know what hurts us. You know what? A stranger can't get to you, like your wife or husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or father or mother or sister, right? Somehow they do, right? They say something, ooh, they know your buttons, right? And a stranger doesn't. So I realized a long time ago that sometimes the people closest to us are the ones that are hurting us the most. And unfortunately, sometimes they're blood. So at that point, I started cutting out negative people. It didn't matter who you were. If you weren't helping me in my goals, with my dreams, pushing me, motivating me, inspiring me, you were out of my life. To this day, I live by that code. I will help you as much as I can, but like I said, I'm not going over the hill with you. I'm not going into the dark depths of your depression and stuff. I will get you help. I will try to help you, but you're not taking me with you. So anyone in my life that wasn't helping me, cut out. I was working 20 hours a day. I was not sleeping. I was not doing anything but focusing. I was reading this before the internet, people, okay, before Google became big, so now I'm aging myself. All right, there's no YouTube tutorials or anything like that. I was learning. And so eventually I was given the opportunity to become a cameraman, then a director, a writer, etc., etc. Today I'm an executive producer. Now, I can go and say, oh my God, my dreams have come true, right? They did, literally, they did. The point wasn't that today, some people might find it successful or not, because just as our last speaker said, success is it's based on relativity, right? Happiness is based on relativity. Money, trust me, is not what makes you happy. It's how you feel about yourself and everything. But I did create my dream with what? With one single thought, right? I had a thought that was implanted in my head, and I didn't let it go until I arrived. And I've done every single thing in my life that way. All right, I used to own a nightclub. Why? Because one day I saw some guys partying. I'm like, I want a nightclub one day. And people are like, you're crazy. You're in television. How are you going to get a nightclub? You don't have money. I'm going to do it. And for 3 years, I visualized it. I visualized how it would be to be getting ready to go to my nightclub. I visualized what it would be to be up in the DJ booth, right? Stupid dreams, right? Maybe it has nothing to do with television, but that's what I wanted. And guess what? The day I was standing there at this DJ booth, I'm like, boom, dream come true, right? It wasn't that easy just thinking about it, because a lot of people get caught in this thing of the law of attraction, just where you just think about it and it's going to happen. It doesn't happen that way. It does not happen that way. You got to think about it, and you got to visualize it, and then you got to do what? You got to work. You got to act. And the people that have the passion, determination, and the action will never fail. You can't have just one. You can't have passion and then not act. You can't just act without a plan or without visualizing, without, the other two, right? You got to have three. It's a recipe. Now, you said you didn't know the recipe. That's one recipe. I'm not saying that is the recipe, but it's one recipe that's worked for me. If I get something in my head and I'm passionate about it, I'm going to write it down and I'm saying, I'm doing this. And believe me, you're not going to stop me. Because like I said, maybe you're smarter than I am. Maybe you have more money, but you won't out-passion me. You will not outdrive me. You won't outwork me. It's not gonna happen. That's how I think, that's what I believe, and anybody in this room can do that. Anybody in this room can do exactly that, right? It's not about what our friends think, what our people think, and I'm gonna tell you something else. You can recreate yourself in this moment. Sometimes people get so caught up with like, I'm this way, I'm that way, people know me for this, people know me for that. Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? Are they paying your bills? Are they living your life for you? No. So in this moment, you can say, I'm gonna do this, this, and that, and you can do this, this, and that. All right? Last thing I'm gonna tell you is this. This is recent. 2 years ago, I got the idea that I was gonna go back to my old work. I started and created a show here in town called Great Day SA. In fact, I used to work with one of the gentlemen here at the station at Kent's Television. I helped create that show a long time ago. And then I left at the height of it a long time ago. About 2 years, I got an idea in my head that I was gonna go back. First of all, they didn't want me back. It wasn't like they were offering me to go back. The position wasn't open. It wasn't open. But I got in my head that I wanted to go back and change lives again. My favorite part of that job was to change lives. As an executive producer, you get to say, this person's going to come on the show, this person's not. I'm going to hire this person, I'm going to put this person on TV. You make dreams come true and it feels good. And so I got in my head I was going to do it. For 2 years, and I haven't said this in public or to anyone, but for 2 years, I visualized over and over and over and over what I would say the second I would walk in to talk to that staff. I visualized what I would do with that show. I visualized the way it would look, how it would feel walking back into Kent's Television. I visualized it all. And then I took the proper steps to try to get to that position again. Network with the right people. Made sure they knew that I wasn't going away by, guess what, helping the other morning shows succeed. And helping create another morning show for Fox. And helping be the EP for another show for WAI. So I was on the radar. And so I was working and doing what I had to do. And 3 months ago, guess what I do? Right? I walk into this room with the whole staff at Great Days and introduce myself as a new executive producer. Right? And I give this speech that I had said in my head for the last 2 years. The exact speech. Right? A dream that becomes a reality. I don't have superpowers. You know, I'm probably the least perfect person in here. What I do have is drive and motivation, and everybody in this room has that. I'm not special. I'm less special than most people in here. But everyone in this room has the ability to say, I'm gonna do this, and you do it. And I can name a million people who have done it. People that I know that have come from nothing to become super millionaires, presidents. People I've known have become presidents. All right? They don't have anything special, I can tell you that. You guys have everything they have, and I have everything they have. So get a dream in your head, visualize it, work for it, and never, ever, ever give up till that dream, right, that's here. And when you first have the dream, this is the dream, this is the reality. And when those two meet, that's where it stops, right? And then you go on to the next thing. So anyhow, that's my speech for today. Hopefully you got something out of it.